This is Gemara in Kesubos Daf Samoch Zayin. All the learning should bring an incredible schos neshama for Esther Reyzel Bas Meir Mertashem. The learning of the entire Chabura as we begin a new week of Daf Yomi should bring Esther Reyzel Bas Meir to an higher place in Gan Eden Shal Ma'ila. We're holding on the top of Samoch Zayin Amid Aleph. We are 5 lines down, and we're in the middle of a discussion about Nakdiman ben Gurion. We concluded yesterday's shir with the very famous Gemara of Nakdiman ben Gurion's daughter searching for food in the dung of the Arabs, and the Gemara teaching us that Nakdiman ben Gurion got such a punishment. Why? Because he didn't give enough tzedakah, even though it seemed he did. Either he did it for his own honor, or he did not do enough. And we continue today, 5 lines down. Tanya, we learned in a Rייzel. Amar Rav Elazar Rav Sadik. Erab nechama em loy reisi sheisem malaket esayrin. Says Rav Elazar, I should see consolation if I didn't see one gathering the barley mibein talfei susei ba'akoi from between the hooves of the horses in Akoi. Why? Karasi aleh mikra. I explained the verse, the pasuk, to this girl that was collecting the barley. If you do not know where to graze, the greatest of women, go out the footsteps of the sheep, and graze your gedim, your kids. Your bodies. From here referring to that a woman goes out to the feet of the animals to find the food. So we see that Rav Elazar and Rav Sadik is teaching us that he's able to see the explanation of this pasuk, that even though referring to the greatest of women, the daughter of a Nakdiman ben Gurion, but still at the time of the Churban, she fell to these greatest of depths, searching for barley in the dung between the hooves of the horses. Continues the Gemara going back into Kesubos. Amar Rav Shemin bar Abba Amar Rav Yochanan hechnisu loizav. If she brings into the marriage gold, her nedunya, her dowry, shamin oisai, we evaluate the gold, varehu kishavyav, and it's worth, and it's written according to its value. We saw yesterday that certain items used to over-evaluate, etc. As we saw in the Mishnah, that the chassan has to write extra because of the devaluation that was not correct. Says the Gemara, gold is evaluated accurately. Meisvei asked the Gemara, says the Gemara, says in our Brisa, gold is like utensils. And what's the kasha? My love, kikilim shal kesef. Seemingly it should be just like utensils of silver. Tiparsi, that to depreciate in value. So asks the Gemara, seemingly just like the silver utensils are a 5th depreciation in the ksuba, gold should be the same. Answers the Gemara 20 lines down. The first word in line is loi kikelim shel zav deloi pachsi. It means like golden utensils which do not depreciate. Ask the Gemara if that's what it means. Im kein kikeilov mi ba'ilei. Should have said kikeilov its utensils. Why did it say kikelim? If it's equating gold to its own golden utensils, it should have said kikeilov. Va'oi Tanya, and furthermore we learned in the Brisa zav areu kikelim, that gold is like utensils. Dinare zav areu kiksafim. Golden dinars are like money. Rashba Goimer says of Shimon Gamliel b'makush shenagul shaloi leportan, in a place where the practice is not to exchange them, then shamanoi samareu b'shavyan. Then we evaluate them, and they go according to their evaluation. So far we don't yet know the question, but the Gemara explains the Brisa first, and then we're going to get to the question. So explains the Gemara, Rashba Gahai, when Rav Shimon Gamliel taught us that in a place where they exchange, then it's like its value. Which part of the Brisa is Rav Shimon Gamliel referring to? Ilema Seifa, if you're going to say it's referring to the end of the Brisa, that gold dinarim are like money. Mechlal, Tanakama Savar Afil Magashin Nagu Shaloi Laportan. Does that mean that Tanakama holds that gold is like money even where they do not exchange them? How could that be? Haloi Nafki, but they don't exchange them. You can't spend them. So how would the Tanakama possibly say that a golden dinar has the same value as money if you can't exchange it? Rather, what does Rav Shimon Gamliel refer to? It must refer back to the first part of the Braisa that said that the golden pieces are like kelim, v'achi kamar. And this is what Rav Shimon Gamliel is saying. Zov areu kelim, that gold is like utensils. My kelim shall kesef. So Tanakama is saying that gold is like utensils. What type of utensil? Silver. Rashba goimer areu kedinarim shall zov. Says Rav Shimon Gamliel, no, they're like golden dinarim b'makaim in a place shenagu shaloi leportan, in a place where you do not exchange them. Gold is recorded at face value in such a scenario. So asks the Gemara, we see that the Tanakama, who holds that gold is like kelim, like utensils, referring to silver utensils. So Rav Yochanan clearly is not like the Tanakama. Answers the Gemara, loy lama seifa. Really, Rav Shimon Gamliel is going on this seifa. And you're asking that if it's not normal to spend these golden dinarim, how are you going to spend them? That you could spend them you could spend them with difficulty. And that is indeed the machlokes between the Tanakama and Rav Shimon Gamliel. Mar savar. Tanakama holds keeping the nafki mishavchin Allah. Since at the end of the day you could spend it, it might be difficult, but you couldn't spend it. Therefore, we increase their value by adding it into the ksuba, just like we do with cash. But Umar Savar says if Shimon Gamliel came with the nafki al, since it's difficult to spend them, lo mishavchin Allah. Therefore, we do not increase their value inside the ksuba. So 5 lines from the bottom, the Gemara concludes that really you could spend these golden dinarim. It's just a debate with the level of difficulty how you're going to write it into the ksuba. Continues the Gemara, Yibai Yisema, a second way of learning that Kula Rav Shimon Gamliel. Really, I'll tell you that the entire Braisa is of Shimon Gamliel. Classically, V'chasur Mechzar B'alchi Ketania, we're missing words. Says the Braisa Zavareu Kikilim. Gold is like utensils, dinari Zavareu Kiksafim. Gold dinarim are like cash. But you can exchange them. You value them and they're like their value. Devrei Reb Shimon Gamliel. Why? Reb Shimon and Gamliel. So that's the second way of learning the Braisa. Says the Gemara, 1 second, Mikal Makaim Kiki Love Baile. You answered the second Gasha. What do you do with the fact that the Braisa said Kiki Love, simply referring to its own utensils? Answers the Gemara, Kasha. You're right, it is indeed difficult. Iba Yisema, second way of dealing with this, we're dealing with chips of gold. And then when you use them, they get used up. Rav Asher b'malei, golden dust. And we continue before we get to the Mishnah, which other items which are recorded in the Ksuba, not at the regular depreciation of a half the value. Amar Rav Yanai b'samim shel antochia. If we have spices of our antochia, harein kiksavim, they're like cash, and therefore you increase the value by half. Amar Shimon Rachmini, Amar Rav Yochanan. 5 lines into the wide lines. Gemolim shel arbaya. If we have camels of arbaya that she brings into the marriage, isha gaiva parna mayam, a woman collects profit from them. Again, you increase them by a half. Amar Rabbi ani tosvi de beimachsi. These shirts of beimachsi, if she brings them into her dowry, into the ksuba, isha gaiva parna mayam. Again, you increase their value. Amar Rabbi ani shaki de rudya. Says Rabbi, these sacks of rudya and va'ashli de mekonchunya and ropes of kamchunya, again, you increase their value and the woman gains from them. And we conclude the first part of today's share with Omar Rava. Originally, says Rava, he thought that if a husband dies leaving over money bags, a woman gets a profit from them. My time, what's the reason? The reason being because they rely on them as security, as collateral. However, says Rava, but once I see that they take the ksuba and they leave, and then when they find land, they buy with it with the cash. I see that no, they weren't being saimez on the arnaki mechuz, on the money bags. Rather, they're being mesaimech on the land. And that ends the really continuation of yesterday's shir, how we evaluate different things in the ksuba. And now we continue with the Mishnah on the bottom of Samach Zayin Amud Aleph, discussing what's the minimum amount of a nedunya, of a dowry that which a woman brings in to the marriage. Says the Mishnah, if someone marries off his daughter without writing how much the dowry is, he's not allowed to give less than 50 zos. If the father stipulated that he's not going to give her anything, she's going to be bare, literally naked of the dowry. The husband should not say, when I take her into my house, that's when I will close her, that's when I'll give her cash. The husband has to clothe her, the husband has to give her cash while she's still in their father's house. Again, the minimum being 50. But if there's inside the kiss, if there's inside the funds that's left over by the father of this girl, then you give hakol lefi chvayda. So first we begin, as classically the Mishnah said, chamishim zoz amar Abaye. Chamishim zuzi pshiti. What does it mean, 50 zoz? It means 50 kamin zos, not choshev zos, which Rashi explains is worth 400 those. Rather, 50 kamin. Mimai, they tell you say from the end of the brace. That's Mishnah that said in Yish because we're on a Salavich Loida. I'm reading on my kiss. What does it mean by kiss? I'm Rachav Arnaki Shal Staka. It means the staka boxes. We had the same right the other day. And if you're going to tell me that, what does it mean by chamishim zos? It means literally the chashava ones, which is really 200. Rather, what must it mean? It must mean the 50 kamin zos, and that's right. Number one, the minimum amount of a dowry is chamishim zuzi pshiti. Says the Gemara, Tanura Abana, 3 lines at the end of the Amud Yasam v'Yisayma. Shabbat is Barnes and Barnes and is Yisayma. Barnes is Yasam. If a Yasam and a Yisayma comes to Bezdin, comes to the tzedakah that they need food, first we give to the girl, and then we give to the Yasam. Why? That is normal for a boy to go collect, but a girl, it is not necessarily normal. Continues the Raisa. Yasam v'Yisayma, as we turn over to Samach Zayin Amud Beis. Shabo li Nasei. If they both get married, now Meisina Zizamach, Meisina Ziyasam. Again, the same thing. First marry the girl, then the boy. Why? The bush of a girl is more than the bush of a man. It's more difficult for a girl to stay single than for a man. Continues the Gemara, Tanura Abanan, 3 lines down, Samach Zayin Amud Beis. Yasam Shabo Lisa. A Yasam that comes to get married. We rent a house for him, and we give him a bed, and we give him all the furnishings, all the items that he needs. And only after he's provided for do we marry him off. A very important pasuk. In the world of tzedakah, the pasuk says that open your hands, or actually more accurate, that open your hands and provide with that which they need, whatever is lacking. And the Gemara explains, so proves the Gemara we have to support them and provide for them adequately, and only afterwards do we get them married. Continues the Gemara, Tanura Abanan, on the same theme. What does it mean? The extent of their need. That's how much you have to support someone with. You don't have to support someone to make him rich. He continues the pasuk, whatever is lacking. And famously, the Gemara comments, if what his need is, what is the attitude of the Torah of tzedakah? What is his need? What does he need? Not what you think he needs. If he's lacking a horse, to ride on, and he needs a servant to run in front of that horse, meaning he's one that used to be of means, he's one that this is what's befitting him. That Evet, that Hillel, that's actually what he did. There was someone that needed it, and he provided the stucco for the horse and the person to run in front of the horse. At one time, Hillel himself ran before him. The importance of tzedakah, what a time-sensitive Gemara in the world of Elul, as we see that we don't necessarily support someone and provide someone with the basics of bread and water like we think he needs, but rather whatever his lacks are. Asher yachsar loi, whatever is lacking. So if he's accustomed to living at a certain standard, we provide for him on that standard. We continue on the last narrow line. There was a story with the people of Galil. There was an ani from Ben Taivim, a Chashva family, that they would provide him with how much? 1 liter of meat each and every day. Says the Gemara, liter basa my rabusa. What's the big deal? It sounds like you're giving him so much. 1 liter of meat? What's the big deal? So Amar Avuna liter basa mishaloifais. It means fancy chicken meat. V'bayis ema, but liter basar mamish. It means an actual meat, animal meat, which is very, very expensive, that costed a liter worth of coins. And each day they would waste an entire animal, shechting him to give this person the meat that he needed. The incredible importance of making sure to support them, what they are lacking. And we continue in the world of tzedakah on the 4th medium-sized line. There was someone that came in front of Rav Nechemia. Amar le b'mata soyed. And Rav Nechemia said to him, what do you normally eat? Amar le b'basar shemin, fat meat, v'yayin yashin, old wine. Rav Nechemia said, you want to eat with me some simple lentils? You know what happened? The ani said, I have nothing else. You're offering me lentils, I'll eat lentils. But Umeis, Rahman al-Islam, the ani was at such a high level of luxury, the mere meal of lentils killed him. Amar argu Nechemia. Rav Nechemia said, woe is to the one in which the Rav Nechemia killed. Said the Gemara, what do you mean? What do you mean? Woe to Nechemia, you killed this person. That's what it should have said. Hello. Says the Gemara, Nechemia wasn't responsible. He caused it on himself. Why? He should not have made himself such a mafunik, so much delicacies. And of course, that's always the balance. We're seeing that the ani, the person's job is not to become so accustomed to all the delicacies of this world. But once he does, then we have to support him on that level. And we continue with another story. Yehuda saw in 5 lines from the very wide lines. Yehuda saw likamei Rahava. What do you normally eat? A fat hen and old wine. Are you not worried that the community who's going to have to pay for such expensive stuff? Am I eating from that which is theirs? Such an important line. Every line is important, but the ani says it's not theirs, it's Hashem's. Titanina eini kolelecha yishberu, says the pasuk, the eyes of all look to you. And you, Hashem, give them all that which they need in their right time. Doesn't say in their time. Ella bi'itay in the singular melamed. Shkol echad ve'echad noisen HaKadosh Baruch Hu parnasasai. Bi'itay, Hashem gives them their parnasa in the right time. Adahachi asaya achtei derava. as this story was happening, Rava's sister, who didn't see him in 13 years, he hasn't seen him in 13 years, and Rava's sister pops in with the fat hen and the aged wine. Amar, Rava says, my dekama, what you see, Amar lei, Rava says, Na'anisi l'chakom oichel. Rava says, it's yours. That which I said it was too much, obviously Hashem has provided for you. We see the power of Emunah B'tachon. He believed he would get it and he got it. We see how far we have to go to give the appropriate tzedakah. We continue with the world of tzedakah in the second white line. If someone does not have anything to eat, but he doesn't want to take tzedakah, give it to him as a loan. And then eventually forgive the loan and let him keep it. First, give it to him as a present, give him as a loan. Says, what do you mean? Whole problem is he's not going to take a matana. Says Rav, you know what it means? It means begin by giving to him as matana. If he doesn't give it to him, then ultimately offer it to him as a halva loan, and then let him keep it. Back into the Brayse Yeshloi in the fourth white line. Vena writes this parnis, he has money, but he doesn't want to feed his family. I give it to him as a present, then go and make him pay back. Ask the Gemara, he's not going to give it to you. This guy has the money, he's not supporting his family. We trick him into doing it, and after he dies, we collect the money. Rav Shimon Aimer, if he has money, we don't have to deal with him. If he doesn't have any money and he doesn't want to take tzedakah, we tell him, bring a mashkoin and take the money, so that so he'll be calm that it's actually a loan. And we continue with some makarios from the Pesukim Dana Rabbanan. The pasuk says you should give a halva. This refers to someone who does not have money, doesn't want to support his family. As we said, you first give it to him as a loan, then you forgive the loan. The pasuk continues and says, surely you shall lend him. This is someone that has money, doesn't want to feed his family. You trick him. If he doesn't want to feed his family, don't get involved with him. Says the Chacham, what do we do? The Pasuk says you should surely lend him. The Torah is speaking the way that the people speak, that says that he just repeats the words twice. Continues the Gemara with more stories about tzedakah. About 20 lines to the end of the Amud. The first one line is Kilashing. Marokva had an ani in his neighborhood that every day Marokva would give him 4 zuz. Betzinura didasha, Marokva would slip it in to the door of the ani when he wasn't there. One day the ani said to himself, Dani didn't know who's giving him this money. So one day Dani says, I'm going to go and see who is doing this wonderful chesed from me. That day, Marokva was a bit late at the Beis Medrash. So his wife knew what Marokva would always do. So she was going together with him on the way to the Ani's house. Once the Ani saw that Marokva was slipping the money in the door, the Ani chased after him, ran after him, and what happened? So Marokva and his wife are running away. They don't want the Ani to realize it was them. They came to a certain Gerufa Nura, an oven that the coals were not there, but it was still boiling hot. Nura, Havi Kamalkinon, Havi. So him and his wife jump into the oven to save the Ani embarrassment. And you know what happened? Marokva's feet were burning. So his wife, whose feet were not burning, his wife says, his wife says, take your feet and stand on my feet. My feet aren't burning from this oven. Marokva felt bad. His wife is seemingly at a higher level. She's not getting burnt by the oven, and he is. Amrale. So his wife says, don't feel bad. I'm just generally in the house with my karava and asay, and I could give aniyim even easier. I could give them food. It's my tzedakah is immediate, and therefore that's the reason why my feet are not getting burnt. Omai kulihai, says the Gemara. Why do they have to go so far? Throw themselves in an oven? He explains the Gemara. Here it is. It's better to throw yourself in a fiery first and not embarrass your friend. Minalan, mitamar, from Tamar the Levi says that she says, as she was taken out, as she was about to be executed, she would not give in. She did not want to embarrass Yehuda. So you see, Marukva and their wife went to the greatest extremes, not only to give tzedakah, but then to conceal their identities so that the ani would not feel bad. And we finish with one last story of Marukva. We're 10 lines to the bottom. The first one line is Ukva. Have'anya b'shavusa had a certain ani in his neighborhood. He would give 400 zuz every Erev Yom Kippur. One time, Marukva sent the money with his son. And what happened? Marukva's son came back and said he doesn't need the money. Marukva said, how do you know he doesn't need the money? So Marukva's son responded, I see that they're using old wine, chashva wine they're drinking. Amar mefane kulei. Marukva said, really? Is he so pampered? Is he using such chashva items? Oh boy, he needs even more money. He doubled the money and sent it to him. Again, seeing the appropriate attitude. He didn't say, oh, he doesn't need, don't give him. He says, oh, wow, he must need even more. We conclude, when Marukva was dying, he said, bring me my tzedakah records. He found rain that he gives 7,000 dinari, sankois, and koyin dinarin. Amar, Marukva said, Zvadai klilai v'orcha rechikta. My provisions are light. I didn't do enough mitzvahs, and my road is long. He got up. He lavishly gave away half of his money to charity. He asked the Gemara, the famous Kash, how can he do this? You're not going to give more than a fifth. Answers the Gemara, it's only when one's alive. He might come to need other people. There's no issue. We see the importance of tzedakah, how much one could give in his death, how important one has to be not to embarrass Ani. The attitude of giving, what he needs, what he is lacking. When you find out Ani needs, Ani has, you don't say don't give, you say I must give more. And we'll pick up, and of course the incredible importance of malbim minei chaver, not to embarrass another friend. We'll pick it up from Rav Abba.